Perfect. Let's get started. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning. Thanks for joining us today. We have a fantastic line of speakers to talk about HR case management. Interesting topic and also much needed given all the AI and the automations we have going around. Before we dive into the presentation and introduce the speakers, a couple of housekeeping rules for us to have a smooth and an engaging webinar. Please keep your microphones mute, and you are welcome to have your video on or off, whichever you are most comfortable with. We encourage you to ask questions. We polled our customers. We already have a good set of questions. Please use the chat feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen to put your questions. We will address them at the end of the presentation. Please note this webinar is being recorded. We will share the recording and other materials to the registered participants and send the email out in a day or so. With that, let me introduce the leaders that we have on the call today. First, Nicky Newman. Nicky is a Senior Vice President of Corporate Operations at WilsonHCG. Nicky is responsible for day-to-day operational management, leading IT systems and support functions, project management, global facilities, and administration. Nicky specializes in driving operational and strategic support across the business to ensure operational metrics are met. Nicky will share her insights and experiences from WilsonHCG's recent HR case management deployment. With that, Nicky, over to you, please, and you can give us your background and the setup, how the requirement came in, lessons learned, and the deployment.
Thank you for the intro, Prabhu. Hello, everybody. First, want to start off by just kind of giving a recap on who WilsonHCG. WilsonHCG, we are a global leader in total talent solutions, which in short is really different recruitment services that we offer. So RPO, recruitment process outsourcing, exec search, and consulting is our core function as a business. So just thinking of that, we are an HR business as a whole. Talent solutions is HR. So making sure we always have systems in place to support us as well as our clients is key to our overall business. We've been partnered with Atlassian utilizing Jira Service Management for probably almost 10 years, I'd say. Somewhere between 8 and 10 years is where we've been. Utilizing it primarily for technology and systems, tracking change controls, things like that, but really focused on the technology front. Over the last 12 to 24 months, we've really been starting to utilize it for additional case management systems across our finance team, across our HR team, but really starting to kind of implement the system across our teams and departments. The HR case management tool came about with our HR team coming to us kind of saying, hey, Nicky, can you sit on a demo and see this tool that we've found? And I wasn't aware at the time that we were looking for a case management. I think they had somebody reach out. I looked at it. I was like, hey, I said, hey, team, like we can be doing this in Jira. We already have it. It's ready to go. So fast forward a little bit, we start to implement it, start to get it set up, and come to find out one of the things that one of our team members had seen that we were not able to do was be able to pull in employee data from our HRIS system. We utilize Workday as our HRIS system. So having to toggle between two systems when the purpose of this is to really make it convenient for our HR team and have a one-stop shop, as I like to call it, for our team. So one of the things that came up as like kind of, hey, based on what you're seeing, what else do we need to bring to the table for this to work for you guys? And what really came from that is we'd really love to see our employee data in our tickets, in that case management tool. So started doing some research, found Onward, which has been absolutely great for us. But that Onward, or utilizing OnLink within Onward, is what was able to bring in those assets. It allowed us to set up assets, which is really our employee data. So that was kind of the challenge, was really just, hey, how do we get this employee data in there? We've got Workday, we've got Jira, and being able to partner with Onward was kind of the solution to everything. And after we got that connection in place, the team, everything that was needed, we used for it, we ended up doing custom reports from Workday for that connection. So just in case that may get asked down the road, we did utilize the custom reports and not the API directly. So that was kind of a little bit of background on some challenges we were seeing, what was coming when we asked our HR team, like, hey, what else do you want to be seeing? It was truly missing that HR data from our Workday instance. So overall, I would say the assets that we set up, that assets has been critical, not only for this project, but we, as I mentioned earlier, just about WilsonHCG as a whole, we have different business lines across our business. And what we were able to do is pull different reports and different asset schemas into different projects. So now we're able to segment that data. So overall, the benefits and what has come from this has been wonderful. And I will say our HR team has, I always like to say, the best term is like, no news is good news, right? So I've had no complaints. We've been live on this about 3 months now with the connection, having it fully rolled out. But it's just been really great overall, and having that, really being able to check all the boxes of what our team was asking for.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Nikki, for the overview and walking through the details. A couple of questions for you. In terms of HR case management, and I know you've been a long user of Atlassian platform, what key metrics do you track to measure the success or effectiveness of this HR case management?
I would say it's really based on, that's a little tricky for us, to be honest, Prabhu, because again, the information, the different data sets that we're collecting is very different, but we typically set SLAs in place based on what the project type is that's coming in. So we really set our SLAs not on like our metrics on like, hey, this has to happen in 8 hours. It's more so around the priority of it. It's also around the subset of what type of project it is that we're utilizing. But we do have SLAs in place.
I agree. That makes sense. Then the second question I have to ask this, with all the AI stuff going on, how do you see HR case management evolving within WilsonHCG, especially with the rise of AI?
Yeah, I would say for that, so AI is a topic of conversation across our organization. We actually have a technology that is an AI-driven technology that we have from an HR instance. So we have something called Claro, which has an AI functionality within it. But overall, AI is being discussed across our entire organization, every single department. It's how can we optimize? How can we be utilizing AI? Not only that, but what systems are we utilizing that have AI capabilities? So it's talking both internally about optimizing how we could be using AI, but it's also looking at systems going forward and who has those AI capabilities.
That makes sense. Thank you, Nikki. Moving on, we have Jose Giron. Jose is an IT specialist at ActiveCampaign. Jose has strong background in IT support and systems administration. He specializes in building and optimizing IT workflows. Today, Jose will share his experiences and lessons learned from integrating Workday and Kandji data with Jira Service Management. Over to you, Jose.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Hello, everyone. My name is Jose Giron from the ActiveCampaign IT team. A little overview of kind of the onward onlink perspective on what we were looking for, and a big challenge on the IT side was we were trying to get away from using spreadsheets. We were still using spreadsheets for inventory assets, trying to track a lot of the damaged machines that we have deployed. ActiveCampaign as a whole is a global company, so we have a lot of assets in a lot of places. So we were just trying to figure out how can we just bring everything in that we currently have into one solution. So at the time, we upgraded our Atlassian Jira Service Management to a enterprise or premium tier, which gave us access to assets. So within there, I was kind of looking for solutions and discovered the Onward OnLink app via the marketplace. Saw the kind of like the demand and what would be needed to get that approved on our side. So kind of went with it, right? I looked at everything that OnLink was providing and figured it would be a great solution. Plus our HRIS as well as Workday. So I figured let's go straight from the Workday side of things to get, information kind of like who the user is, their shipping address, since we have to ship out laptops, their location. So obviously based out of the US or EMEA or LATAM for our global employees. And all that is currently already in our Workday instance. So, yeah, we felt like OnLink was the perfect solution for our challenge of combining everything. So reached out to the team at OnLink. They gave me fantastic feedback and support. So we were able to integrate our HRIS Workday straight into assets using the OnLink app. And then within there, once I started to get employee data, couple customizations to just get different text fields. And I think that allowed us to then say, let's go into the Kandji side of things to then pull kind of similar information. So, yeah, that was, as I mentioned about the challenge of using spreadsheets, we are now away from spreadsheets and all into assets with the help of OnLink. This now gives us Kandji information. This gives us the Intune information as well for our Windows devices, on top of the HRIS Workday reports that we are pulling as well. This way we can merge and give me employee A has asset 1, 2, 3 assigned to them. We can now have a better viewpoint for reporting on where we have assets currently. We can set different statuses as well within the assets platform in Atlassian. And yeah, I think it's been rolled out for the company now for a little over 2 months. We've seen huge improvements on just ticket count as well. This allows us to get more accurate information when shipping out devices. We can have better reporting on if we're at a low stock. And that's all thanks to the OnLink application. So yeah, that challenge has been somewhat kind of checked off, and the business benefit of the Onboard app is just being able to now have one home for all our assets, and just being able to just go into a specific asset, find the serial number, for example, and make those changes, for that specific asset.
Perfect. Yeah, I can give you the shared access, Jose, if you'd like to share your screen.
Perfect. So just a quick little rundown. Let's see if I can move. So this is just an example of, this is a schema that we have that's pulling from OnLink's Kandji's integration to assets. So this is just giving us pretty much all the basic information that we are currently looking for in Kandji, and just giving us a dump of all that information. The cool thing with OnLink is that they give you the opportunity to run this report or run this sync manually or off of a automation. So we're running this, for example, on a day-to-day basis. All that could be done via the OnLink app. And the cool thing that we could also do is start integrating this with our customer portal. So, for example, myself here wants to report a damaged asset, and here are all the assets that are assigned to me based off of the OnLink app integration from Kandji to assets. So those are just an example of kind of what OnLink can do. Once you get all this information into assets, obviously that's where the customization comes in from Atlassian to start making those cool features with this drop down. So this was kind of a headache on my end to figure out. So if anyone is having an issue with this or has any questions, please let me know. I can share kind of the back end of this custom field that's pulling that information. But that's just one use case, right? Of once you get asset information into assets, how to pull that via a customer portal.
Perfect. Thanks, Jose.
Yep.
I have a quick question for you. Obviously, HR case management by default has some sensitive data about employees, right? How do you manage, or what type of security controls that you have put in place for case management?
So good question. I think on the Workday side of things, obviously us being in IT, we kind of just get that information straight from the Workday team. Obviously, from approval from their end, we got the okay to pull that information. It is being locked down via the in assets. You can make a group that has access to this schema. I think it's called the roles. So we just gave just the IT team in general access to that sensitive information. And that's kind of the security behind it in regards to the asset side of things. I know in Workday, we do not have visibility to that information. So we wanted to kind of mirror that aspect of just locking it down to specific people. And obviously the address is a big sensitive attribute, but it does help the IT team streamline our replacements, our damaged assets as well, and allows us to just ship out things a little bit faster with that information.
Got it. Excellent insight. Thanks, Jose.
Yep.
Excellent presentation. Now moving on to a live demo. I would like to introduce Silvia Davis, Senior Technical Product Marketing Manager at Atlassian. Silvia has strong background in DevOps and ITSM processes and tools. Silvia's consultative approach emphasizes hands-on implementation and simplifying complex technologies into practical solutions that help customers overcome challenges. At Atlassian, Silvia specializes in Jira Service Management Assets Data Manager. This is a new product that is, I've been super impressed with the features. So we look forward to have Silvia give us a demo of the upcoming features of the Assets Data Manager. Over to you, Silvia.
Thank you, Prabhu. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Perfect. So hello, everyone. Nice to be here. And it's very exciting to talk about Assets Data Manager. But before diving into the demo, Prabhu, next slide, I want just to go over a couple of, conceptual kind of information. And by the way, everything that I provide here as a demo can be subject to change because, again, this product have not been released fully yet. We're going to provide some information. The product we are considered as a capability inside of assets, and that's going to be available soon. So some things that you might see here might not be in the release, but etc. So I just want to make sure that we have this disclaimer. Next. So I see like Nick and Jose, they did a very good job presenting their use case. They are the people that is like creating these amazing ideas and bring the data together to even make the job of others easier, right? And even avoid problems in the systems, making proactive. And I know that everyone that's listening probably go through that. I've been there, done that, and they say the pain, right? But another aspect is with the growth of a digital technology, there are so many data everywhere, right? And here we are even talking about HR specifically. Even when you talk about HR, there is information on Workday. You might find even some ERP systems like maybe Oracle, SAP. You might find, you name it. And on top of that, you also have the security systems like, with Microsoft as well, Active Directory. You have your own IT management data, as Jose mentioned in his presentation. And sometimes you have a lot of data, but that data is not like aligned together. So there's a lot of discrepancies. And whenever you do some ingestions of data, sometimes from different sources, you might have a lot of duplicates. So Prabhu, next. So if you see, I like this phrase, like you have to avoid the garbage data, right? Because garbage in, garbage out. So it's very important also to have complete, current, and correct data. And that's what you are bringing to you guys or everyone about Assets Data Manager. There is 3 major aspects of the Assets Data Manager. It's help you with the simplification of data ingestion. So we are going to provide you some adapters that you can just connect through API and out of the box, you can just configure easily, not a lot of work of configuring, customizing, and then bring this data from different sources. On top of that, this most important piece is you get all this data together and do reconciliation and normalization, because again, garbage in, garbage out. I work with CMDBs before, and when I see that amazing number of data, I was like, wow, that's good, but a lot of repetition of the data duplication. Go next. Oh, and of course, we can optimize the process. As Jose even mentioned in his presentation, you can automate the process in ITSM to basically inform or change proactively the type of information that's needed. So how that works, you have disparate data sources, like various data sources, from asset to system management tools, ERP. We have a process to integrate, then cleanse the data, normalize, and reconcile. So you can, again, have complete, current, correct data. Next one. And then a data manager, is super flexible. And I get excited when I talk about that, because you can think about so many use cases out of the box. Doesn't need to be any one of this. It can be even outside of what I'm talking about. So as Jose mentioned, connect to the request management, incident management. And then there is also another layer that's change and release management to troubleshoot impact or assess the impact. You can do asset config, organization, employee data. You can also do DevSecOps, integrating the whole processes and knowing what's happening from assets from application development to the IT organization. So whole management data there. Also, when we talk about DevSec specific security, what types of liability I'm risk because of compliance of assets or employee, which employees that are leaving, did they deliver everything that they need to? So all that correlation of data can be done there. Governance and compliance, financial, procurement, forecast. I mean, this is just some examples, but with the power of the tool, you're going to see that you can ingest and have any type of data there that's going to help across the teams. Next. And then here is basically the flow. And then I'm going to jump to the demo right after. So you have external tools. And here I'm just talking about assets, devices in some way, but you can also have a ton of, let's say, even HR data. You can have, I'm going to show in the demo, you can have software data. So, and then the first step, basically, you create jobs to integrate. You do the integration between data manager and your external sources. Then you create what you call raw data. Once you do this raw data, you map that to your data manager object. And here I'm using the computer object as an example, but you can have a people object as well. I'm going to show that in the demo. So we basically we have the process of mapping those data that we got with the mapping with the object. Then on that, I can also do cleansing process, that is removing duplicates, removing records that has no primary key. There is some rules out of the box that you can use. And then you import that data, and then you reconcile that data into the objects. And the next step is, once you have that clean data, complete data, you can move to the schemas into assets. So then the next step is a lot of good information to, do some queries, create some searches, and then also have dashboards for all the teams around your businesses. So it's not just a tool for IT, it can be used everywhere as well. So let's go and jump now to the demo. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so you need to stop sharing so I can share. And let me just go here, share, and then I'm gonna, go here. So, sorry about that. That's the screen that I want, actually, and then go here. Perfect. I have my data manager now. So, I'm very pleased to show you guys a demo of this product. And again, as I mentioned, some of you, the functionalities that I might demo here is still subject to change. But as you can see here, I have my data manager inside of assets, and this is my menu of options. As soon as you open data manager, we have this option here, get started with assets data manager. And the cool thing is that you can also learn how data manager works inside of the product. So let me just go back here. Let me just go back here because my screen kind of got bigger. Okay, so then I can show here, right, how data manager works. And then let's start talking about the value initially of data manager. So with all that data that I mentioned that we can ingest, I can create dashboards. And these dashboards are very, very flexible. As you can see here, I have a list of different dashboards for different teams like security, IT, asset management, my CMDB, even for finance, IT ops. And this is all flexible, that's all configurable. So what I did here, I create this kind of executive view with all these charts. And you're gonna see that's very easy as I go through the tool to create those charts. You don't need be a master in anything here to create what you're seeing. And the cool part here is let's say by this platform, by data source, I collect data from different types of data sources. And right away, I can see a couple of discrepancies here. So if you see here, I have different types or numbers of records by different data sources. There is major discrepancies between my data. So this is one of the points that I could look, find some discrepancies and take some action right away. So I have 43,000 records and then different data sources, different numbers of items, and then they should be at least close with the numbers, but they are all different numbers of records. But then I can drill down a little bit more. This is more like an inventory, computers powered by platform. And then here is another nice chart that I do we call Venn diagram, that I compare different types of data sources. I can see all the records that are in common on this tree, or I can see between SCCM and antivirus, there is just 21 records. That means it is 706 records, they probably are in not compliance with antivirus. And the cool part here is that I can drill down and see the data and see also the search that was executed or created. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I have also some kind of interesting charts, for example, this one here, as I mentioned, I have it around 37%. Around 37% of servers that are missing antivirus. So I can kind of detect in terms of assets, but I'm showing more assets, but I'm going to show you something about HR very soon. And then I also have my computers per platform. As you can see here, I have so many types of operational systems that's very hard to manage it here. So I can normalize the data and have a better view. So what I'm doing here, everything that's Microsoft Windows Server 2012 R2, I'm just normalizing on Windows Server or Windows Server a particular version. So I can normalize this data and have a better visibility and then start working those data as well. Same with people, same with the data that comes from HR. Here's a comparison between finance, some data from finance and some data from IT. Seems like I have 40 percent of the computers that's not active in finance. So this is a big flaw as well. They should match because of, you can also say compliance or any other aspects of finance that needs to be managed. And then here's just one simple example of a chart that I create, like active employee role by department. So, but I can also do some comparisons between like employees and computers who has a need to basically upgrade their computer, so I can do some planning. Another aspect too is like whose computer is not in compliance, maybe with maintenance. I can also do some additional comparison about like when some particular departments kind of purchase computers or technology for that particular person, right? And then HR doesn't have visibility on that particular person as well. So we can even detect people that are third-party working for the company and is not connected to the HR. So there is many scenarios that you could do here to ensure liability specifically, especially security. So who are those contractors that are accessing the systems? You can do all sorts of analysis. So very robust. So this is one of the major values. But the other value is the integration, right? So I'm going to go here in adapters. I have a list of adapters. Not all the adapters, I would say, is going to be out of the box as we launch for beta, but those are some that we have been tested. And then you can also do flat files. You can also do schemas from assets, so you can ingest the schema data here and also do some compliance and verification. Like Jose mentioned that and show he did like the integration with Kandji. So we can get that data that he already put there in schemas, bring here and do some comparison analysis with one other data source. We can do also SQL and OGBC, so connecting data from Workday or other ERP systems. You can use either this or flat files. And then again, there is a tons of other out of the box, I would say, adapters for you to use. If I click here in flat file, you can see that's very simple. I can configure my job, right? I'm going to actually navigate here to show my all jobs. I create all these jobs before. I create like some, as an example, users on Workday as a flat file. And then this is my configuration. I have a flat file from Workday that I'm ingest this data on my environment here. And then I can also see the job execution, if the data was in, if the data was not, and what issues I had with that integration. So once I create that job, I run this job, I run like adapter, and then bring that executes and bring the data. That can be automated with scheduler, and then you can bring that data as much as you want, like once a week, twice a week, every day. So you can configure that as well. And the data is always fresh, always current. So here's where we basically bring the data in. We're going to also go back here in the data manager, show some more details about the cleans and import. So remember, we integrate, we do the cleans and import. So I got the data in. Let's say that I'm going to just type here my object class people as an example. So as you see, I brought some data. I just put the name Workday, like JSM users, maybe Active Directory users, right? Here it was just some tests with some kind of flat file data. I can also see everything that is in my object called compute. So those are the basically devices and assets. I have a ton of other data sources that I brought, and I also use API. Right. So as you can see here, I have tons of data that was ingested, and this is all like staging data. So the next step that I want to show you, like I'm going to just go to my SCCM, and I'm going to show some cleansing rules. So Data Manager comes with out of the box several cleans type of rules. As you can see here, like you exclude like records that basically are null or have a primary key that's empty, or records that contain some type of information that I don't want to upload that doesn't make sense. So you can clean this data before even ingestion schemas, which is a very good role. And then when you do that, right, so you are removing those types of records that, are just garbagey. Then the next step is I can mapping like this data source to my object that's going to reflect on the schema's environment. And then going back here, I'm going to also do the cleans itself. So once I select what types of cleans that I want, actually, let me open another one here that you can see even better here, the cleans. So as you can see here, this is my SCCM. You see that I have like 14,000, and then I remove like the duplicates and everything that have a primary key. And I also can prioritize what type of data I want to bring, and then reduce from, 14, 212 to 153. So I have less 59 records. That was basically garbage, right? We don't need duplicates on the schemas. So this is kind of an execution on the stage data. Once I have the data clean, what I do now is basically reconcile that information. It's basically the action of import. When I say import, what I'm doing is I'm getting data from Workday, I'm going to get data from Active Directory, data from JSM, and then I'm consolidating and comparing all those data and then create one unique record. Again, you can prioritize which data, if there is duplicates in this types of data sources, you can also prioritize which data to consider, which is pretty cool. So you do that in a configuration. And then here, basically, when I do the import, it's also apply what we call compute dictionaries. And these compute dictionaries is where the data gets normalized. We can also set some of the conditions for the compute dictionaries. There is some out of the box as well. So going back here, so we talk about like cleansing, mapping, import the data. And then the next step that I want to show is how easy it is to do searches. So going to analysis here, the first thing that I see is all my objects. Those objects are going to be out of the box. So we have the best practice for these objects and its attributes, okay? But you can also change the attributes if you want, if you need. But we do have a very robust, I'd say, number of attributes within this object class. So as you can see here, I have software, people, compute, network, users. I didn't bring data for these periphericals yet, but compute, people, and software, I brought some data in. So I'm going to just go here in the compute, and then as you can see here, the same thing you can do with any source. Basically, I have this record, and then I have, like you see, it's not in any of these files, but it's in here, our data source, but it's in here in the item. This one is only in the CMDB. This other one is in this 4 here and not here. So to make it just easy, I can just do some search saying, show me everything that is equal okay in SCCM. And then I'm going to say everything that is not in the antivirus. So I'm going to say equals and then X. So in search, done. So no need of SQL commands or anything like that. We are very robust. There is like new conditions, new groups. You can go and create as many as you need, like queries to query the data and then find these anomalies. So another example here, I'm going to just go back and then go back one more time. And then I'm going to show some of the queries that I done here, just as an example. Before, so I have these queries, I can save these queries. As you can see here, all the people from the asset, and then here like people that are full-time and are active for assets, right, for new assets. So basically, I'm just doing this search. I'm going to click here. You can see status equal active, employee type is equals full-time. So again, you can do many types of analysis in the data as you want. So once I do that, I go back and then I can create my dashboards. I'm going to show quickly how easy it is to create these dashboards, right? So I can have here, let's see here. I'm going to just modify my layout, right? And I can move this around and I'm going to lock my layout and then just edit this chart. And then all those searches that I showed you before, it's used to create those dashboards. So I select like the type of chart that I want, and I select here the object and then the search that I'm using, and that's it. Very simple. I mean, as you can see, no need to coding, no complex kind of commands, just straight and forward to create like some analysis and dashboards. And then to bring the data in, you go to schema. Something that I want to show quickly is like the configuration here. I can go to this configuration in Data Manager, Here's where basically I enable data manager in my instance. Of course, you need to be enabled by us to have the access first, but here I can turn off, turn on, and then mention here who are the people that are accessing my system. And then going back here, I also brought the data from people, from data manager, right? So this is the people that I ingested before. I'm going to just show quickly here, DM people, configuration, and then import. So people from DM, and then I'm going to just see here, view structure details. There's no change. And then I can basically see here that this CSV file was from the data manager. And then here in create, basically I import. Here's where data manager import is the data that I can get the data from any object from data manager into my schemas. So with that, that's the pretty much overview of this data manager. I'm gonna go back to this first screen here and hand back to Prabhu.
Excellent.
Prabhu, with you.
Thank you, Silvia. Great demo, exciting features. I know you shared the timeline. Maybe if you can give a quick insight on when people can start using this, that would be great.
Yes, that's the $1 million question, right? When that's going to be available. So I'm very happy to say that we are opening Assets Data Manager as beta release, so open beta for customers, partners, and we are going to start the rollout on September 30th. That means next week. But I would say for customers, I would say more towards of middle end of October. And you're going to be notified when basically we are going to go with that enabling Assets Data Manager to your instance. So stay tuned, right? And we are going to be releasing this soon.
Excellent. Thanks, Silvia. And last but not least, we have Teigan Sabhlok, Director Corporate Strategy at Workday. Teigan has spent over a decade with Workday. He started with implementing human capital management solutions for over 100 plus customers. Teigan has extensive experience in both HR technology as well as the associated processes. He then later worked on Workday Help and Workday Journey to get to the market. Now, as part of Workday's corporate strategy team, Teigan is focused on defining the company's long-term strategy. Teigan will share his perspective on deploying a fully integrated HR service management solution with a highlight on onboarding and Workday integration patterns. Thank you, Teigan. Over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Prabhu. Hi, everyone. I'm Teigan with Workday. Workday is an enterprise leader to help organizations manage their people and money. Like Prabhu said, I've been fortunate enough to work across the business, first in services, then product, and now corporate strategy. One thing we've been focused on is increasing the volume of our partner marketplace contributions by leaning in with our amazing partners. And I'm super excited to see partners like Onward join the ecosystem and together provide organizations with the best experiences possible. Today, I want to talk about delivering the best-in-class onboarding experience. As we know, onboarding is not just a one-time event, but crucial journeys that set the tone for an employee's entire tenure with the organization. A successful onboarding process can boost engagement, improve retention, and accelerate productivity. Let's explore how we can achieve this through 6 key components. So the first one I want to talk about is tailored journeys. Every organization is unique with its own culture, processes, and goals. Therefore, a one-size-fits-all approach to onboarding doesn't always work. By creating configurable journeys, we can design onboarding experiences that meet our organization's specific needs. And we can do that through customizable steps where we can add and remove steps in the onboarding process to align with different roles and departments, and with alignment with company values. Incorporate your organization's mission and values to immerse new hires from day one. The second key component I'll talk about is flexible configurations. So onboarding is a collaborative effort that involves HR, IT, and various other departments. Flexible configurations enable these teams to work together seamlessly. So with cross-department collaboration, we could set up workflows that involve multiple teams without causing bottlenecks. In dynamic approvals, by implementing approval processes that adapt based on the task or department involved. The third key component I'm going to talk about is the task library. And efficiency is key in onboarding. A repository of common repetitive tasks can save time and reduce errors. With reusable tasks, we can use predefined tasks for activities such as equipment provisioning, account setup, and mandatory trainings. And consistency is key. So we can ensure that every new hire receives the same baseline information and resources. The fourth key component I'm going to talk about is personalization. So while standardization is important, so is catering to individual needs. Personalization can make new employees feel valued and understood. We can do that with role-specific content, providing information and resources relevant to the new hire's specific role and department. And we could also do that with cultural integration and including elements to help them connect with the team, like introducing them to a buddy or mentor. The fifth piece is intelligent automation. And automation can significantly enhance the onboarding experience by reducing manual tasks and speeding up processes. We could do that with native integrations and leveraging native integrations with HR systems and accessing governance tools to automate data entry and permissions. And with automatically provisioning a user in Azure Active Directory based on new hire information. The sixth and last key component I'll talk about is omnichannel engagement. So meeting our employees where they are most comfortable, whether that's email, mobile apps, collaboration tools. With multiple platforms, we can provide access to onboarding materials such as various platforms in Slack, Microsoft Teams, or mobile devices. And it creates a consistent experience. So ensuring that the onboarding journey is seamless regarding of what channel you use. So in summary, delivering a best-in-class onboarding experience involves a strategic blend of customization, collaboration, efficiency, personalization, automation, and accessibility. And by implementing tailored journeys, flexible configurations, a task library, personalization, intelligent automation, and omni-channel engagement, we can create an onboarding process that not only welcomes new employees, but also accelerates their integration and productivity. So next slide, I want to talk about Workday integrations and a frictionless integration that delivers great employee experience. There are three key areas that can make your Workday integration successful. The first is understanding integration platforms. So Workday offers a suite of mature APIs that are both robust and versatile. The first step is to select the right API method that aligns with your specific integration needs. Carefully choosing the appropriate method ensures that you're not only overcomplicating the process or mapping unnecessary data. We can do that with field mapping, so pay close attention to field required for mapping. Selecting the relevant data fields helps streamline the integration and reduce potential errors. The second tool here is custom reports. Don't overlook the option of custom reports. They can provide tailored data sets that might simplify your integration efforts, especially when standard APIs might not cover all your requirements. The second is grasping the business process. And understanding your organization business processes is crucial before diving into integrations. So onboarding can be particularly complex, varying greatly from one organization to the other. But take your time to map out each step of your onboarding process to identify where integrations can simplify tasks. And with simplicity and automation, the ultimate goal is to keep it simple and automate wherever possible. So automation not only will save us time, but also minimize errors, leading to a smoother experience for both HR teams and employees. And enhancing the employee experience. So by simplifying the process and reducing manual intervention, we can directly contribute to a better employee experience. The last piece here is establishing a feedback loop. 3 pieces to establishing effective feedback loop is first around timely feedback. So encourage users to provide feedback on the integration's performance. This can help you identify issues early and make necessary adjustments. The second key component to the feedback loop is improving adoption. So user feedback is invaluable for improving adoption rates. When users feel heard and sees their suggestions implemented, they're more likely to embrace the system. And the last piece is iterative enhancements. Use the feedback to make iterative enhancements. An integration isn't a one-time project, but an ongoing process that evolves with their employees' needs. So in conclusion, integrating with Workday doesn't have to be a daunting task. By selecting the right APIs and mapping the necessary fields, deeply understanding and simplifying your business processes, and establishing a feedback loop for continuous improvement, you'll be successful. So thanks so much, and probably I'll turn it back over to you.
That's an excellent summary, Teigan. Thank you. Because one of the things when people talk about integration is, the effort and the cost becomes a roadblock, and you covered the options and the things to consider. Thank you. With that, I have questions that we curated from our customers, and I see a couple of questions in the chat window as well. Let me go through this question. One of the question is, how do you manage full-time and contingent worker requests? I think I know, maybe Nicky, if you want to take this up, because I think you mentioned your HCA, case management is for both full-time and contract workers as well.
Yeah, so we have 2 separate asset instances. So it's 2 separate reports that we're pulling in that data, and those are custom reports out of our HRIS system today that we're able to extract that information. So it's technically 2 separate instances through OnLink, through the custom reports with Workday, that's pulling that contingent versus full-time employees.
Got it. Perfect. Next question is, what strategies to look at for change and encourage adoption among HR team and employees? I know, Jose, maybe a question for you. I know you showed the service ticket where employees can come and initiate a request. What methods that ActiveCampaign has used to increase the adoption for the implementation?
Yeah, just kind of, on the IT side of things, it's kind of just trial and error, right? Just trying to create something that's more easier for the employee to get a hold of IT with all the information at once. So just for example, that form that you saw in that portal, I wanted to make it as easy as possible for an employee to not look for a serial number, to not look for additional information on their asset, and just click a button, see everything assigned to them, and hit submit. This way, the IT team can then streamline that support and know from the moment that ticket comes in, it's like, oh, this is a damaged asset. I have the serial number. I have the Kandji information. I have now the HRIS information to ship a possible replacement. And previously the form that we had was all just kind of text fields. So we relied a lot on the employee to provide that information. So now, we're kind of merging all that information into assets. It's a little bit easier. So yeah, just trial and error on our side from IT, presenting something that we feel like is useful, and kind of just seeing, feedback from the employees.
Perfect. Next question is, I think it's general Jira Service Management. Maybe Silvia, you could take it. What are considerations when we need to look at workflows? Obviously, Jira Service Management supports a comprehensive workflow. What are some of the considerations to look at to implement for HR or even like non-IT use cases?
Well, as even Jose and Nick mentioned, right, one of the consideration is don't try to boil the ocean with a lot of data, right? Because again, you're going to be lost, and then you're going to be, I mean, we're not going to be able to see results right away. So I always say, like, start with is more important. I always like also to compare when you go to the dentist and you have like a lot of pain in your mouth, they try to pinpoint where is the pain, right? Same thing with whenever you're doing integrations between software, other external data, as even Workday, Teigan, I mean, made a very good point when he was talking about integration, right? See what you need to integrate. Do some assessment before. Start small, okay? Don't try to bring all the data from Workday into assets. That's not the objective, right? And then try to exchange just data that you need. So do a quick assessment, see what's the need, bring the data that you need, create a use case, see results, create the workflows, right? And when I say workflows, it's like what type of problem I'm trying to resolve. Is just maybe assets versus employee, is assets employee security or employee liability related to data. So think about the use case, think about the data that's necessary, bring only the data initially that you need, implement a simple workflow, and then expand. Show results fast.
No, that makes sense. Thanks, Silvia. This question is a little generic. Maybe Teigan, you could take a first stab at it. How do you collect and implement feedback, from HR teams or even employees? I think, given your, being an implementation consultant, deploying HCM solutions, maybe some of the strategies or tactics to get feedback from the early users or adopters.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Teigan.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think surveys are a great mechanism, and we could do that within the system. So being able to, meet employees where they are, gather that feedback, so it's also top of mind for them, and then be able to quickly analyze and iterate on the feedback is a good strategy and approach.
Got it. Like surveys, forms, like timely, excellent. Perfect. Those are the questions I had. Let me quickly check the chat window. Perfect. I think the questions are already answered. Excellent. We are right on time. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, presenters, Nicky, Silvia, Jose, Teigan, for your insightful content. We look forward to seeing you all in the next webinar soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.